session.
Welcome to the first episode of Courts in Session, presented by the Caps on Sports Network. This first episode, number one, numero uno. I don't know other languages. I'm Anthony Mano. I'm here alongside my podcasting partner, my bubble buddy for now, if you will.
Oh, the bubble buddies.
Nick Tobias. We're going to give you everything you need to know about the NBA bubble, the season remaining, and the season moving forward, hopefully for a long time coming. Nick, you have anything to add there?
No, I mean, we've been out of basketball for 150 some odd days. It's been a while. Let's rock, dude.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Excited.
It's about time. We got some. We're recording on Wednesday the 22nd. There are some scrimmages going on today. I know the Nets and Pelicans play at 7:00.
I forgot. I forgot who opens up at 3, but
there's a 3:00 game. But I'm for sure going to be watching those. It's going to be some bad basketball because it's the first time those guys picked up a ball in a competitive setting for a while, probably. But I'm excited. It's
supposedly they're doing 10-minute quarters, I think, instead of 12, just to try to ease people back in. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Just to ease people back in, which makes sense.
Yeah. Let's get them back in here. So let's start with some news and notes from around the association. The first thing we got is Kevin Garnett joining the group to buy the Wolves. Owner Glenn Taylor right now wants to pair the NBA team and the WNBA team, the Lynx, and really isn't open to relocating. But it's nice to see Kevin Garnett in that ownership group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, KG played for the team for 14 years. All right, I have his stats while he was there. He averaged 19.8, 11, and 4. He was the 04 league MVP and the 04 All-Star Game MVP. I mean, the guy was probably Defensive Player of the Year once or twice, or not. He was probably on the All-Team defense a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's a baller. I mean, he's a great guy too. It'd be great for the Timberwolves to kind of they need to turn it around. And I think he'd be a good help for the team. Well, did you see that the Minnesota Vikings owners trying to jump in on it too?
Really?
Yeah, well, not with KG, but make a separate bid.
But in a different ownership group. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure there's a lot of ownership groups, vying for that. But it's always nice when you see a former player, getting on the ownership too. Kevin Garnett's been kind of, shortchanged by the Minnesota organization. I know there were some issues when they were going to retire his jersey and they just never did. They kind of brought him back as like a farewell tour. And that didn't really go over as planned. So there's some issues with Glenn Taylor and Kevin Garnett. So if Kevin Garnett can get his, revenge, I guess you can call it, by buying the team from the dude that snubbed him, it's going to be interesting to see. And at least it gives you a face to the ownership group. So many times you see these ownership groups made up of like millionaires and billionaires, and you don't really know, whoever the owner of whatever company, what does he know about basketball, to be decided, or what his basketball decisions are like. So it's good to see somebody that actually knows basketball, that played the sport, to kind of get in there and make a mark.
All right. Well, recently too, they just announced that they're finally, they're moving the lottery up only 3 days from August 23rd to the 20th. It doesn't really mean much. I just kind of want it to happen already, but I understand that it kind of can't happen.
Yeah, there's some implications going into the bubble and the playoffs, that some teams are trying to hold on to their pick if they make the playoffs, or if they don't get a lottery pick. It's pretty tough right now, especially for these dudes that are pro prospects, guys that are maybe on the fringe, and they can't get the opportunity to play in front of, maybe they didn't have March Madness. So some guy that maybe struggled during the season and had 2-3 good games in March Madness and helped his team, advance a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's
There's
a tough
no
evaluation
either. Yeah,
it's a tough evaluation for the teams, especially the top lottery teams. And you figure, obviously Golden State and the Knicks up there, and They're trying to evaluate what their team needs, and then going off that, what can these prospects do without seeing tape from these guys from what?
Yeah, and this draft class is pretty it's pretty average, I think. Like last year you were able to get Zion, right? And that was like the golden, piece. And there was a lot of dudes who were really proving themselves this year, like John Morant and a couple others in there that you're like happy with, and they can project as like fringe stars, future all-stars, but at the very least like play a role. And that's kind of I feel like there's no prize piece in this draft class. I think, opinions are all over the place on these guys. And if you look at somebody like LaMelo Ball or something like that, is he going to be, your franchise guy? But that's where these workouts come in, because if you're on the fringe and you get two guys in for a workout, if you get if you get Anthony Edwards and Cole Anthony Edwards from Georgia and Cole Anthony from North Carolina and like you're kind of like on the fence about them both. You think they can bring equal things to your team, or like you'd like a trade or something like that. If you get them in and Cole Anthony, bricks 25 of the 50 shot or 25 of like the 100 shots that he took, or only makes 25 of the 100 shots he took or something like that, then you're going to be like,
Yeah, I mean, it's all a tough situation this year. But moving on to some injury news. So recently, we saw Justice Winslow, guard forward for the Memphis Grizzlies, out for the season with a hip injury. Honestly, to me, I don't really think it means too much. I think he was just more of a rotational guy. He wasn't going to start. He wasn't going to make too much of a difference, I don't think, especially getting traded right before, the pandemic hit. He wasn't able to kind of get acclimated. He wasn't really healthy.
He hasn't played with the Grizzlies yet, has he?
No, I think he might have played maybe a game or two. To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you because it's that insignificant. I just don't think it's that big. I don't think it's that big of a loss. I think they'll be happy to have him next year, when they'll be poised to make a pretty deep playoff run next year. I like them. I like the Grizzlies a lot next year, but
so he's only played 11 games on the season, none with the the Grizzlies.
So it's kind of whatever. We saw Marvin Bagley the third.
The third iteration of Marvin Bagley.
Yep, he's the third of them.
Okay.
We saw him go down with, what was it, a foot injury?
Yeah, he went down with a foot injury.
Yeah. That's a tough blow for the Kings team. Who are trying to fight for the 8th spot in the West. I think they were going to have a tough time in the first place, but I don't think that really helps. Personally, I think Bagley's a little overhyped. I haven't really seen the production as much as especially the Kings were hoping.
He's I think they're sold on the fact, or not the fact, they're sold on the idea that they can use him as Kevin Durant, as kind of like a do-all kind of forward, oversized guard. And
I don't see it.
That's not Marvin Bagley.
No.
If you use him as a pure like power forward, I think that's a little better. But he's only played 13 games this season too. He's been okay in those 13 games too, averaging 14 a game. Didn't really shoot the ball that well from three, but shot pretty decent from the floor. He's one of those guys that, like, this is back-to-back like injury shortened years now, and like he's one of those guys where you have to kind of like figure out the next year like what you're going to get out of Marvin Bagley. You have to put him in positions to show him like what exactly he is as a basketball player in the system that you want him. And if he gets hurt doing that, then maybe it's time to move on or try to ship him, somewhere else and get somebody in. He's productive when he's on the court. I just don't know if they're using him the right way, if they want him to be a different.
I don't know. The Kings are in a tough place. I mean, they have a good building block with De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield.
And they overperformed last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but they're still one of the youngest, fastest teams in the league.
Sure. Yeah. They were under Dave Yeager. I don't know if they still are under Luke Walton. But
something needs to change. But they're whatever anyway. But let's Okay, so I'll start. I'm a Celtics fan. I'm very open about that. And Kemba's been having knee issues, constant knee issues before before the whole pandemic hit, before the league was stopped, and it's still continuing. Which, to be honest with you, I don't know how. He didn't do anything for 3 months, and now his knee's still giving him issues. But
Mm-hmm.
Brad Stevens has gone on not conference calls. He's done press conferences, and when he's talking about Kemba's knee, he said it's improving, but he isn't ready. And then he quoted his last press conference saying he's pretty darn close right now. So going into the bubble, Kemba was supposed to practice every other day, but Brad Stevens has said that he's been able to at least get something done at practice the past 5-6 days.
Right.
So that's promising. Even 70% of Kemba, I would rather take over our backup Brad Wanamaker, or even, Marcus Smart isn't really a shooting. He's more of a passing guard, playmaking guard. But, the Celtics already clinched a playoff spot. What is it, 8 regular season games in the playoffs? So what's the point of even rushing him back for these first 8 regular season games?
But I have a bit of a counter argument there, and obviously, like, you want Kemba Walker to be like 100% for the playoffs, like no matter who you're playing. And if you want to risk him those 8.5 games, if you think he can go full tilt or like 90%, right, you are 3 games back of the Toronto Raptors, right? So if you, it's the difference between playing the Nets, Magic, Wizards, whoever makes the 7-8 seed there. Right now, they're slated to play the Sixers, right? So who would you rather see in a playoff matchup? You'd rather see the Nets, Magic, Wizards, whoever gets the 7 seed, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So
seventh or eighth.
7th or 8th, right? Well, yeah. Well, you guys aren't going to catch the Bucks, 9.5 back.
No.
So you're going for the 2 seed, right? And you have Miami up 2. So Miami's right now the 4th seed. So if you see them, winning, do you take the drop back and play the Pacers? Like, you're going to have to play, the best teams eventually. But if you're going to play a team where your point guard, your second best scorer on the team, probably, as a Celtics fan, would you agree? Like, if it's not Jason Tatum, it's Kemba Walker.
It's 100% Kemba Walker, yeah.
Right. Okay.
But at this point, it's tough. Would I rather, give it to Jaylen Brown at this point?
Right.
And
can that starting lineup, or can that lineup without Kemba Walker, can that lineup give you?
Oh God.
Can that lineup get you to the 2 seed with the Raptors playing phenomenal basketball before the break as well?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Right, so the Sixers are a tough matchup. So ideally, you want to get into the 2 seed.
Listen,
so you can play
I don't want to talk
seed.
about the Sixers. The Sixers aren't a tough matchup. Everyone just thinks they are.
I think they're tough. I think they're going to be a tough matchup.
They always are, or whatever. I guess to wrap up some news, the NBA announced 0 players tested positive for Corona since July 13th, which is great, which means it's working.
It shows the bubble in what they're doing is working, right?
Yep. But it's good framework for not only the rest of sports going on right now, but even for the country. Look how easy it is just to stay inside or wear a mask.
Right,
do what you gotta do. And,
absolutely.
And last but not least, I don't know if anyone saw I know you and I were checking out yesterday, but the Atlanta Hawks. Their new uniforms, a little bit retro, a little bit of modern, they look phenomenal. I wasn't really a big fan when they went, last year? Or no, it was like 3 years ago.
3 years ago now, and they had
when they put the lime green, it was disgusting.
They had the kaleidoscope style jerseys in black, red, and white, and it just wasn't.
It wasn't nice. It was horrific.
It was tough looking.
I think they tried to be real futuristic, and there was really no need for it to be. But the new unis look fresh.
They do.
They look fresh. They look really cool, and I'm a big fan. I like the Hawks to be a little bit of a sleeper next year, but not really.
I think since we're talking, I think the Hawks in a new uniform can be a little bit of a sleeper. I think they need another like piece. But they have a roster where you look at the guys and it's like Trae Young, like proven scorer. He's done it now 2 years, whether you like him or not. Like whether not you, but whether like one likes him or not. whatever you think of him, like is up in the air.
It'll just be interesting to see if his stats aren't going to be empty, because right now he's just putting up the empty
right
stats.
Now he's putting up numbers on a losing team, and it's like one of those things where it's like half the argument is like, oh, what do you want him to do? He's got no one on his team. But then you look at his team and you're like, oh, I like Kevin Huerter. He's a good 3-point shooter. He can defend at a decent level. Oh,
John Collins
Andre
is
Hunter.
good.
They got Clint Capella now. Oh, I like
Mm-hmm.
John Collins. They drafted Cam Reddish. So you look at those guys and it's like, can Trae Young put up stats with, like, you look around and everyone can agree that they have decent players, but nobody can get an agreement on what Trae Young is. Like, is he empty stats, high volume player, or is he like doing all he can because there's no one around him? But yeah, I think they need one more piece. I think they need somebody off the bench that can, maybe not influence a game like Trae Young can, but if Trae Young, if you need to spell Trae Young, you're not going to lose anything by having, whoever their second string point guard is right now, which is at the moment Jeff Teague, right? And Jeff Teague is serviceable. Jeff Teague is he can do some things for you, but he's not going to be a game changer.
Jeff Teague is that's a good number too.
That's a fine number. You're not gonna look at Jeff Teague and be like, oh man, he's out there. I can't believe we're throwing Jeff Teague out there again. Like, we're up, like we're down 5 and Jeff Teague's coming into the game up. Now we're down 15, or we're up 5. Now we're down 10 because Jeff Teague's in there. So he's not an absolute zero. He's a proven guy in this league. But
whatever. All right. So that wraps up the news and notes. So our first segment that we're going to do here, now we're just going to do a little bit of buying. So we're going to buy some teams, sell some players, buy some players. I don't know. You want to start off, or you want me to start?
You can start. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to buy my first buy is as a team-wise. I'll start buying a team. I'm buying into the Denver Nuggets.
You're buying the Denver Nuggets. Okay.
I am buying the Denver Nuggets, of serious contenders this year. So, first of all, we got Skinny Jokic. First of all, Jokic is I think he's the best center in the game. I like him a lot better than Joel Embiid. He's versatile, can pass, rebound, take shots. He's up and down the court all the time. I mean, now that he lost all that weight, obviously it's kind of tough because he might be, getting bullied a little bit more down low, and sometimes losing weight isn't as good as most people think. But they're going to need him to play massive minutes. Like, that's just kind of how it is. That he always plays massive minutes for the Denver Nuggets. Before the break, he was averaging 20, 10, and 6, on 32 minutes a game. So, he's probably going to be playing upwards of 38, maybe even 40 minutes a game now. The fact that he's 7-foot center and that he's able to do all this stuff and the ball runs through him. I mean, Jamal Murray is more of just a shooting point guard at this point, and the offense kind of runs through Jokic is pretty crazy. Last year in the playoffs, he was averaging 25, 13, and 8. I mean, the numbers are there. He's consistent. He shows up. There's a possibility that 7'2" ball makes an appearance.
Right, and they could play in the same line. I think you can get away with the two of them playing in the same line. Oh my God,
he's easily. I mean, ball we've seen when he was in Oregon. I mean, even before he's an athletic player. He's obviously got the length, and
injuries were his main concern, right? So if he's been playing in the G League.
He's been playing in the G League,
and he's practicing right now with the team.
Yeah,
so
he's practicing with the team. Their depth on that team, I think, is also something which sets them apart. I mean, Gary Harris, Torrey Craig, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee. How can you forget about Paul Millsap? I mean, a veteran 3D guy who just knows what he's doing on the court. Michael Porter Jr., who was coming out of his shell towards the end of the year.
They have a lot of guys in that where you look up and down the roster, and all those guys can give you something. Any given,
And listen, this lineup has so much experience together. It's been pretty much the same starting 5. for what, the past 2-3 years, something like that. I mean, they made that deep playoff run last year. And
they've been productive. They were productive last year. They're productive this year. Everyone thought they were going to fall off, and here they are again. They're not, the 1 seed or the 2 seed, whatever they were last year. I think they were the 2 seed because
I like the Nuggets to play a little bit of heartbreak. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go all the way, but I buy the team in general as, being successful in the playoffs and, maybe making a run.
They have the 9th best offensive rating, and they have the 13th best defensive rating. So they're there.
Yes.
They're not.
They're there. They're not
legit.
Up there. Yeah,
right.
They are. I mean, it's a legit team. Their number, like you said, their offensive and defensive efficiency rating is whatever. It's what you see when you go out there. When I've watched it, I'm telling you that when they played last year, I mean, I didn't think they were going to lose last year in the Western Conference, in the
They
playoffs.
don't score a ton of points, 110 points per game. That's 20th out of 30 teams. So, but they have the 8th best defense. They hold opponents to 107.4 points per game. That's 8th. So if they can, hold off teams and put points on the board, that's my main concern with them. And it's funny that you bring them up as buyers because they're my sellers. I'm selling them. I'm selling them. I'll sell them to you if you'd like.
Please.
Because my thing with them is obviously the scoring, right? So you look at a guy. So they have a bunch of dudes on their team that aren't going to give you like 20 points a game. They have one guy, Jokic, 20 points a game. Jamal Murray, 18 points a game. And Jamal Murray can shoot, Jamal Murray can give you 35 points and then turn around the next night and give you 12 or give you 2 or give you 10 or something like that, right? He's a solid player. And Will Barton, Paul Millsap, Jeremy Grant, to me, those guys are just role players, right? And they're solid role players. But it's one of those guys where if this whole skinny Jokic thing doesn't work out, then they screwed themselves, right? And if Jamal Murray gets cold, then they screwed themselves. And Gary Harris has kind of stunk this season. He figured it out towards the end of the year before the break, but only shooting 33% from 3, 42 on the year. That's down from his last year totals. But I just think you can put Jokic. I think you could put Jokic in a playoff situation. You can put him in the pick and roll, right? Where if your point guard is good at getting to the hoop, where you can have your center and they switch, right? So whoever's guarding the point guard switches with Jokic. And now you got Jokic in an ISO at the top of the screen. You can take that dude to the hoop every single time. That's when he wasn't skinny. I don't know if being skinny really matters in that situation. If you're going to bring them to the hoop every time, they're going to be one of the interesting teams to see out there. I think they're going to be productive, but I just don't buy them as championship contenders, and I would rather sell them right now.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they play basketball, I mean, they play slow. They pass the ball around. They take their time on the offensive side.
They play really slow. They play the second slowest, which to me is weird because, it's Jokic, right? So if Jokic is not your primary ball handler, but if Jokic is initiating the offense as a center, you have to get that dude in situations. But to me, I always thought of Denver as the high-paced, fast-running teams, with Ty Lawson and when they had Melo and Allen Iverson and stuff like that, right? Where they were just and J.R. Smith when he was, sprinting and dunking.
Throwing the ball everywhere, yeah.
I mean, especially in Denver, you got – if you can get used to the air and you can, run and you can, full high speed, go, then you're better. But this team is so different than what they used to be, so playing slow benefits them.
If it worked last year, why can't it work again this year? I mean, what's different, and I mean – everyone around the league is saying this is a whole
whole new game. Hashtag whole new game.
It is. I mean, it's an AAU style. It's probably gonna be more of a pickup basketball being played on the court. It's probably instead of being more, trying to I don't know. Your scheme. I feel like it's gonna be less schemes. People are gonna be facing up. I think it's gonna be very, very physical too. Which I mean doesn't really play in a skinny Jokic, but I think their balance and their depth, can help them, and especially with teams going down. we were talking about with the Clippers, Pat Bev and Montrezl Harrell are gone, and there's no timetable on when they're going to come back. That hurts their depth.
Oh, Montrezl Harrell left the bubble too?
Yeah. Trez left a while ago.
Okay.
Or maybe not a while ago.
Got
he
it.
left too. I'm not even going to bother looking it up, but he left and they lost Pat Bev. So there goes two pretty big role players. There's already people saying that they're going to end up leaving halfway through the playoffs. Like I know Mike Connolly said he's going to be leaving in sometime in August.
Garrett Temple said he's going to leave for the birth of his child.
Yeah. So Connolly's leaving for the birth of his child. Garrett Temple, like you said, and Gordon Hayward's supposed to leave with the Celtics because he's going to be his wife's pregnant again. So who knows what the hell's going to happen? All it takes is someone to get sick too, and then there's 2 weeks at least. So who knows? Go ahead. You want to go next with the buy?
Yeah, I'll give you a player. who I'm buying. I'm buying Victor Oladipo.
No, right? You're gonna buy Depot if he plays.
I'm going to buy Victor Oladipo. And it was announced, Victor Oladipo said that he's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? He's there. He's going to play in the scrimmages. He's been practicing. How are you not going to show up and play? How are you if I
I'm surprised. I thought when he said he wasn't playing, he wasn't even there.
No, he's there, and he's in the scrimmage. Like, he's been practicing with the team, and he's been scrimmaging and all that, too. So my thing is, I can buy him low right now, right? Like, he's played 13 games this season, coming off an injury.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked okay. Like, he looked he looked fine. He looked, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's had a little bit of a layoff. And now he's going to wait and see what he's going to look like in the bubble, right? I can buy him for pennies on the dollar, right? Because he announced he's not going to play. He played 13 games this season. He got hurt last year. All that, right? So if he doesn't play and his value is 0, I don't lose that much. But if he does play and if he looks, any better than he did before and he looks like the Victor Oladipo that made an all-star team last year and the year before in Indiana – I can see it. I get a solid return on investment there. So that's who I'm buying. Right?
I can see it. I can see it because he's, like you said, what we saw from him last year. What we've seen from him glimpses in the past when he was on the Magic, when he was on the Thunder. You're able to see what he could do. He can handle the ball. He could shoot. He could dribble. He could rebound.
Defends at a high level.
He plays defense great. Obviously that leg injury was. Really set him back.
Detrimental. It's detrimental. I don't know if we're going to see the same Victor Oladipo that we've seen in years past.
Well, when he came back, because he came back a little bit, before the break, and he had one good game, and the other ones he were playing was just he couldn't find it. So it'd be interesting to see if he can find it this year. I don't really take the Pacers seriously. So besides the team, he's got to pretty much do it all because Miles Turner doesn't do anything. Malcolm Brogdon, I think, is just an average point guard. Who else they have? Aaron Holiday. Do they have Jeremy Lamb? They might have Jeremy Lamb.
They have Jeremy Lamb, yeah. No, Jeremy Lamb tore his ACL. I think Jeremy Lamb tore his ACL.
Yeah, but that's the thing is the rest of the team. The thing with him is he's got to do it all. And I think coming off of an injury like that, I think he's just got to take it easy. What's the rush? Next year's another year, and I don't know if he should even bother wasting his time.
Right. But yeah, I'm going to buy him because he's cheap right now. And if he plays, that's great. If he doesn't play, I don't lose that much money.
All right. So I'll throw a sell in here. I'm gonna sell this basketball team. And you probably already know who I'm selling because, oh my God, I'm selling the Philadelphia 76ers.
It's funny that you say that too, because everybody's in on Philadelphia, right? Everybody sees Philadelphia and they're like, this team was dominant at home and they played garbage on the road. So when we're in Orlando, what is that? That's, to me, it's closer to the road than it is at home.
I think, okay, so I'll start off with that. So they're not good on the road.
Right.
And not only is the team not good on the road.
They're bad on the road. They're bad.
Yes. So role players, I think, are more pivotal on the road because stars, you expect to come out and show. You expect to get – consistency from Embiid,
right.
from Simmons. Horford. Oh God. But role players, you need them to play better. They play better at home than they play away. That's kind of how it goes. Mm-hmm. So if role players play like they play on the road, all right, Sixers are 10-24 on the road. 10-24.
Not great.
And they're a minus 5.2. And they're one of the only teams to have a negative point differential on the road. One of three teams. Between them, the Heat and the Nuggets have minus differential on the road. They're trashed. I mean, I could go on and on. The points that I was just kind of hitting on.
Even the Knicks are 10-23 on the road.
Okay, so I put a couple of them down. The Sixers are 10-24, the Heat are 14-19, and the Nuggets are 18-14. I mean, those are just the playoff teams that I tried to jot down because everybody else is whatever.
Right.
So my problem with the Philadelphia 76ers has gone back 10, 15 years. I've never liked them. And they've kind of been I think the franchise in general has kind of been in a downfall and has been very unstable for the past, who knows, past 5-6 years. Obviously, a lot happened this past.
They draft not that great. I mean, they drafted Ben Simmons, right? And they drafted Thibault. Well, the Celtics drafted Thibault, but the Celtics own the pick.
Now,
so
I don't even think Thibault is that great. Okay,
Thibault is probably one of the best defenders in the league right now, and it's his first year in the league.
Oh God!
So that's just one thing, right?
Okay.
But and then they drafted Embiid, but they also drafted Jahlil Okafor, and they also drafted Nerlens Noel. So they're just wildly inconsistent.
And I think the franchise, I don't think, knows what it wants in general. So, they lost Jimmy Butler in the offseason. That was pretty bad. I mean, he went on a couple different
turn around and gave Jimmy's Butler to Al Horford.
So, exactly. That's exactly what happened. So, they'd rather pay for Jimmy Butler. They'd rather pay for Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, which is, I don't know if I would do that. Jimmy Butler went on the record saying that he said, quote, "Stuff just don't work out. Nobody knows what really went on in Philly. We're going to leave it that way." So I don't know what the hell happened there. He doesn't want anyone to tell it. He doesn't want anyone to know. So it couldn't have been good. I just don't
think those guys. I think Jimmy Butler is like an alpha personality, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to get in your face if you don't think you're doing well. We saw it with Karl Anthony Towns, right? He got Karl Anthony Towns, right?
Which is what the Sixers need, which is what I don't understand.
Right. And I just don't think I don't think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid took to that well. But keep going.
So they traded away Saric and Robert Covington. Now Robert Covington is a good two-way player. No, not as good as Jimmy Butler, but he's better than Josh Richardson, who they got in the sign and trade with Miami. Mm-hmm. So they already dropped off there. They panic signed a 33-year-old Al Horford. 4 years, $97 million. They lost J.J. Redick in that offseason too, which is horrible because they have no shooters.
Right.
Okay. Al Horford right now, he's shooting a career worst 43% from the field and 32% from three. They paid him to literally come off the bench. He's getting paid almost $25 million a year to come off the bench. Him and Embiid can't figure it out. There's no playmaking behind Ben Simmons. He has to do it all. Okay, now they're starting Shake Milton at point guard. Is that really supposed to do too much? I don't know. Okay.
Who looked good in limited minutes? He looked good.
Again, that's limited minutes. Now we're talking about big time minutes when he's going to have to put up big time points and make big time plays.
Playoff minutes.
Exactly.
You if you can lock down Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, you let Shake Milton beat you. That's fine.
And now it's going to start coming down to Ben Simmons making shots. Is he going to take them? Hopefully.
I think he's going to shoot him.
And guess what? I hope he's going to brick him. Everyone's going to start screaming in his face. He's going to brick them all, and I'm going to love watching it. They're going to give him the space on the 3-point line. He's going to brick it, and I'm going to love it. And then Embiid, who's supposed to be in quote the best shape of his life, continues to just trudge down the court in the fourth quarter, just jack up these dumb threes that don't make any sense, and it's just lackadaisical.
And we'll see, and obviously, that's what we saw during the regular season. We'll see if any of that changes, in the
it's been the same thing with Embiid every year for the past 2-3 years. Oh, I'm in the best shape of my life. Oh, I'm going to start trying hard. Oh, I'm going to practice more.
Right.
Oh, this.
So you're selling the Sixers because of bad road splits.
And a bad team, and I hate that team. That team,
and a poorly constructed team.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So I sold the Nuggets. Yeah. I'm going to buy. I'm gonna buy the Raptors.
I like
And
it.
the Raptors lost Kawhi Leonard, right?
And Danny Green.
And they're playing just as well without him as they did with him. Nick
Yep.
Nurse has done a phenomenal job turning. Last year it was studs and duds, or it was studs and duds with their team, right? It was Siakam and Leonard,
Van Fleet and Lowry.
and Van
Van
Vliet, right?
was coming
Studs
out of nowhere. Yeah.
and some duds, right? Not even duds, but dudes that were like dudes that aren't stars that are giving you productive minutes. This year, he's doing it with not a bunch of no-name guys, because everyone knows, Van Vliet now. Everyone knows Kyle Lowry. He's been in the league forever, and everyone knows Siakam because he's proven himself now in year 3 to be like a legitimate first option. But they have dudes on this team that are getting like solid minutes, and you're like, who is that guy? Guys like Terrence Davis, right, out of Ole Miss. He's a rookie, right? He's built like a truck. He's built like a machine, right? So he's shooting 40% on the year, only 17 minutes a game, played in 64 games. He's solid defensively because he's built like a truck, and 7 points a game. So we'll see if he actually gets minutes, in the Orlando bubble, in the Orlando restart. But I think he's one of the better players on this team. They're insane defensively. They are the second best defensive team in the league. They have length up the wazoo with OG Anunoby and like Kyle Lowry. OG.
And
Serge Ibaka doesn't dress. He does art.
Scarves, baby. The scarf game.
But yeah, Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, two like solid defenders. Marc Gasol is, been in the league for what now, 10, 11 years now, and he's solid as ever on the defensive end of the floor. They have a bunch of dudes that are going to come in. They're going to give you hell for like 15 minutes, and then the next dude that's going to come in for 15 minutes is also going to give you hell. They don't miss a beat, right?
Yeah.
So I'm buying them. Nick Nurse is probably
the best
coach of the year, and we can get to that later.
He absolutely should.
Do you want to move on to that now, or do you have a player that you want to? Do you have a?
I mean, I have a buy and sell for the players.
All right, give me a buy and sell player real quick.
I'll go quick. The player that I'm buying, I'm buying Damian Lillard. Listen.
Dame Dollar? I like that buy. I like that buy because if Nurkic is back, they've played as well as any team in the right. And if he's back at 100%, he broke his foot, so we'll see. Right. Yeah. They play as well as anybody when those two guys are on the court together.
So right now, Dame's averaging 29, which is the most in his career, and he's averaging 8 assists, which again is the most in his career. Shooting almost 40% from 3, which ties his best percentage in the year. In the fourth quarter, he shoots over 50% from 3 and over 46% from the floor. Okay, so this guy is. I mean, we all know what Dame
backpacking the team. This team has been riddled by injuries.
The team gives him no support. That's my thing with Damian Lillard. The team gives him no support, and time again, he's done it. I have on here as the 2 seat my as a couple notes that I really love is when I was talking about how the team doesn't give him the support, he puts the team on his back. Last year, remember when he had that he dropped 50 on the OKC Thunder, and then had the 37-foot step back over Paul George to send the Thunder home, and not only send the Thunder home, but make Paul George leave OKC, like goodbye Paul George. And then 5 years ago in 2014 when they played the Rockets in the Western divisional round, 0.9 seconds on the shot clock. That's when when it was an inbound, he took it right off the top of the key, hit that fadeaway and left part of the top key. If you've seen the video, and I know I watched it at least for 5-6 times on a loop. It was a sideline view. Whoever had it on the court, just absolutely ridiculous. Damian Lillard is prime time. He should be considered one of the best point. He should be. He should be. He is. 3.
I think he is. I think I don't think it's much of a debate.
No, I would put him right underneath Stephen Curry. I really would, because of what he's able to do and how he's able to take over a game. So that's my quick buy. I'll quick buy Damian Lillard. My quick sell for players: Mike Conley for the Utah Jazz.
Struggled this year.
Oh boy, struggled. He's been a shell of himself all season. Okay, the Jazz brought him in to try to help him. That will help Donovan Mitchell. Will take the load off of Donovan Mitchell. Not He's averaging 2 shots at the rim per game, down from 4 attempts from last year. So he's not getting to the rack as much, which really isn't a good sign for him, being that he's a smaller guard in the first place. So that's already a sign of regression. Utah in general, they're 4.5 points better with him off the floor. Record-wise, they're 17-6 without Connolly. They're 19-15 with him. His offensive rating ranks in the bottom half. He's shooting under 40%. I don't like him. Honestly, I don't buy the Jazz. I was thinking about making them my sell, but I just hate the Sixers so much. I don't buy the Jazz. They lost Bojan Bogdanovic. And maybe it's going to give Connolly some more opportunity to expand his role offensively, but I don't think he's going to do anything with it. I think he's washed up. I think he's done. And I feel bad for Donovan Mitchell because he's a stud and that team's kind of trash.
Yeah. It's been tough for Donovan Mitchell, especially because he's the face of that franchise, right? And he's had a rift with Rudy Gobert, right? And Rudy Gobert is obviously like a valuable piece to that lineup. But if those two can't coexist together, the last thing you want is Donovan Mitchell to roll up to the front office and be like, him or me, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously, hopefully it's obviously you look at it
Donovan
and go, all right,
Mitchell.
Donovan. It's Donovan. You want Donovan Mitchell over Rudy Gobert. But if they look at it and we're like, I'm gone. If Donovan Mitchell's like, I want out, not even him or me. If he's like, I just want out of here.
Yeah, I'm done.
I want, and whether it's, selfishly or unselfishly, if he's like, I want to be a bigger star, I can go do that. And
it's
New
tough.
York
It's not a very like you said, it's not a very marketable city, which makes it tough.
But they buy in. Those Utah fans are phenomenal. And for Donovan Mitchell to get the meteoric rise that he did being in Utah is kind of phenomenal. And I think it kind of helps and hurts too, because if he was doing that in Madison Square Garden, right, he'd be like widely regarded as like one of the better players in the league. But you see like, oh, I'm gonna watch a Jazz game. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, it's Donovan Mitchell. Oh, he's balling.
He's nice.
Let's backpack this guy because he's on Utah and he's not well known, and that generates media hype in itself.
Yeah. All right. So you want to move on to NBA awards?
Yeah, we can move on to NBA awards.
All right. So they're the awards this year. If you don't already know, they're doing it for they're being awarded for the performance before the break. So this bubble play doesn't affect it at all, which personally I think is a good thing because a lot of stuff can change, especially rookie of the year wise.
Shouldn't change in the 8 games that they're playing, right?
No, no, it shouldn't. And I think if things were going the way, I think it's got to be more continuous too. Having that longer break than jumping back 8 games later, 3 months after that for 8 games, I think is just not good for the game.
If you had a closer race and you're like, and this guy shot, like if it was like MVP, for example, if it was like a really close race and it was like post game out of the bubble, the dude shot like 25%, the other dude shot like 50%, and like hell, like then I think you can make a case. But I don't think any race is really close enough to make the decision on like 8 games, on 8 additional games that they're playing.
Yeah, so we'll start with our picks for MVP. I'm gonna go with LeBron.
You're going with LeBron.
I'm going to go with LeBron, but I think there's a great case for Giannis.
I'm going to go I'm going with Giannis.
My thing with Giannis is what you take him off that team, and Chris Middleton is the best player, and they're not doing anything. Let's be real.
But isn't the MVP the most valuable player
to
their team? If you take LeBron off the Lakers.
If their second best player, they still have AD.
They still have AD, who's a top 10 player in the league.
I agree, but it's all about individual seasons too. Most valuable player in the league, so you put this guy in a team, and a team is significantly going to get better. I just think LeBron's he should have won. Not last year. He should have won 2 years ago when Russ averaged a triple-double. He was way better than Russell Westbrook that year.
That was James Harden.
He should have beat James Harden the year before that too. It's very subjective, obviously. LeBron was having a great year. He's defying all odds at his age. Still, he's up. I don't know if it's tough because I don't think he's better than Giannis, but I think he deserves it a little bit more. But I'm just gonna go with LeBron.
Yeah, I think LeBron's you good? You dying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
gonna go with Giannis. I think Giannis has proved once again that he's probably probably not the best player in the league. I still think that's LeBron, but I think he's had the best season, and I think you have to give him the MVP in back-to-back years. You can't give that dude the MVP last year and then him get better and be like, no, he's not the MVP again this year.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah.
I think it's going to be close, but
It's definitely going to be close because I think it's going to be not who they're voting, not based on. It's so hard to remember the season now. 3 months later, not having watched basketball, so it's hard for me to sit back and say, how great LeBron's season was or how great Giannis' season was.
Right. Right.
So I think it's going to be more of a popularity contest at this point. Who do you like more? And I mean, the way the league looks at LeBron in general, especially because it's a younger league than it used to be, maybe they'll give it to him because, they always looked up to him. He's still balling at the age of whatever, I don't know. All right, defensive player of the year. I actually took Giannis for defensive player of the year.
I think this is going to be another close one. I think it's between Giannis and AD, and I'm taking Giannis as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks in general, their defense has a 101.6 rating. In general, Giannis has allowed 0.78 points per possession.
He's bigger than everyone else. He's bigger than everyone else, as he should be. Or he should be better than everybody else. He's just better.
I mean, if he's a freak, which he is from Greek, then I mean, so he's giving up 0.78 points, and AD is letting up 0.93. So there's already a 0.2 different, 0.2 of a point differential right there.
Right.
We've seen Giannis block. We've seen him defend all positions. We've seen him chase down. We've seen him steal. We've seen him do all that. He's just a freak of nature. He could do it all. And like you said, his length, I think, sets him above. He's got great agility. He's athletic. I think he moves a whole lot better than Anthony Davis. I'd rather have Giannis playing defense than having Anthony Davis playing defense.
Right. I do think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I think Anthony Davis is really coming. It's hard to say coming to his own because he's far and away one of the better defenders in the league. But I think now next to LeBron, where he's kind of like in LA, where he's kind of like, oh crap, Anthony Davis is really one of the best players in the league. Look at him not in New Orleans. I think he's getting the appreciation he deserves now.
So you want to jump to coach of the year?
Yeah, coach of the year. I alluded to it before. I think it's Nick Nurse.
I have Nick Nurse too. I think
it should be Nick Nurse because you lost Kawhi Leonard and you still have your team as the second best team in the East. You're getting production out of guys that no one else thinks to get production out of. Like you're getting production out of Norman Powell, like I said before, Terrence Davis, Chris Boucher. You developed Pascal Siakam now, and he's really taken a loop now from year 2 to year 3, being the primary guy.
The team chemistry that they have is, I think, incredible. The defense that they play. They have lockdown zone defense, which is crazy.
Right, that's the other thing too. They're playing a bunch of different schemes. It's not like, he's sending the two best players in the league out there. And this is no insult to Frank Vogel, right? He's not sending LeBron and AD out there and closing his eyes and being like, all right, there you go, two best players. He's sending dudes out there with schemes, with like a focus and a vision, and he's getting the most out of them. He puts dudes every single time they're out there in the position to succeed, and therefore the team succeeds.
Yeah, and I think it's 2 years in a row for him. I mean, last year, he had Kawhi and whatever, but still the run that they made last year was incredible. Obviously Kawhi's top 5 player in the league and this and that, but the rest of the team, like we were saying, even last year it's whatever. I mean, Spicy P was just starting to come into himself. Kyle Lowry is kind of hit or miss. So you might get a big bucket from Kyle, you might not. Serge Ibaka was a role player, and that's really it. But what Nick Nurse has done, the schemes that he draws up offensively, defensively, the way that team plays, how hard they play. It's just it's I gotta give that guy a lot of respect.
Yeah, I would give Mike Budenholzer votes as well.
Yeah.
Because he has the best team in the East, right? I would give Frank Vogel some votes as well because he is the best team in the West. Doc Rivers is probably going to get some votes.
I would throw Billy Donovan some votes too.
Billy Donovan is going to get some votes because of what he's done with that team, right?
Yeah, that team was supposed to be trash. Like trash. They were supposed to be left for the
Go ahead. You can finish.
I was going to say they were going to be left for the Wolves. They weren't supposed to do anything, and now they're
right.
They're
Absolutely. And I think Taylor Jenkins, coach of the Grizzlies, gets some votes as well.
He should. Let's go, dude.
Because
I'm all aboard the Grizzlies train. I'm all aboard.
They're one of the better teams. Obviously they're in the bubble. They're the 8th seed right now. So they're right there.
All right. Who do you think's winning 6-man?
This one's tough because this one you can look at a guy like the two dudes that the Clippers have, right? You can look at Lou Will or Trez, whoever you consider the 6-man there, right? And it's six. It's not really 6-man, first guy off the bench. It's like best bench player, really, which is probably going to get like the most minutes off the bench. So Montrez or Lou Will, right? I won't argue with you if you say either of those guys. Goran Dragic is up there as well. He comes off the bench because Spo likes to start Kendrick Nunn. And in his minutes this year, he's still the 3rd leading scorer on the Heat team that are probably overperforming. He averages 16 a game, shoots 37 from 3, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. And he's only started 1 game. He's the first guy off the bench for them. Averages 28 minutes a game. That's right under Kendrick Nunn. I don't think he's going to get the love he deserves, so I am going to give him love on the podcast right now, and I think he should be the 6-man of the year.
I have Dennis Schroeder.
Okay, that's another good shout. Okay, I can't argue with that either.
I love Dennis Schroeder. The guy was always kind of overlooked when he was in Atlanta because he was behind Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague was the man, and Schroeder was just the backup. Right now, he's averaging 19. Which is a little lower than his career high, which is like 19.4. He's shooting his career best from the field at 47%. He's shooting 38% from 3. In the fourth quarter, specifically, he's shooting 45% from the floor, which is better than Lou Will, who's shooting 38. He's shooting 87% from the free throw, and he averages more points in the fourth quarter than Lou Will does too. Schroeder averages 5.8. Lou Will averages 5.2. So there's already a point differential. I love Dennis Schroeder. He's the shooting. He's not a fourth quarter guy. I think he's more of a mid game. The offense doesn't miss a beat when he comes in. Obviously,
come
you're
in,
starting
score, distribute, sit down. Come in, score,
easy.
Distribute, sit down.
Easy. I mean, you have CP3 starting the game. Maybe playing the first 8 minutes. You bring Schroeder in for back end of the first, most of the second, bring him in for most of the third, beginning of the fourth, and then that's it. And he'll keep you in the game. Like you said, he'll shoot, distribute, get out. And that's what you need from a 6-man. He's been very impressive. I want him on my basketball team. I could tell you that I would rather have Dennis Schroeder backing up than Brad Wanamaker on the Celtics. So
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
So you pick Dennis Schroeder. I pick Goran Dragic. Can we both agree it's probably going to be Lou Will?
Yeah, I really don't. I really wish it. I really don't want it to be. I want it to change. It needs to change a little bit because
it's the Lou Will Jamal Crawford Award.
Yeah, right. I mean, like those
That's
guys.
That's just the way it is.
I get it, but like these guys, like I completely forgot about Goran Dragic. Like he's a baller. I mean, realistically, that guy should be starting over Kendrick Nunn. I don't know why Spo starts Kendrick Nunn.
Well, Kendrick Nunn is still Kendrick. It's not like Kendrick Nunn is a slouch. Like he's still coming in. He's still playing high level basketball.
Yeah,
higher than anybody anticipated when Spoelstra was like, "Oh, I'm going to play Kendrick Nunn this year. He's going to be the starter," and everyone's like, "Kendrick Nunn," But he showed up in itself too. And if the roles were reversed, Kendrick Nunn could probably be a candidate for this. But
rookie of the year, easy, quick.
No, it's Ja Morant.
It's Ja, bro.
It's
It's
Ja
Ja.
Morant.
I love Ja. I love the Grizzlies. What he's done to that team. I mean,
Mhm.
geez, so much for rebuilding for the Grizzlies. They're done.
Yeah.
They're done with. They don't do anything else to that team. And maybe
Yeah.
a piece or two, a
You
couple
don't
role
see any
players.
regression next year from them?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't
All right.
see any. I love the Grizzlies. I think next year they're going to be a top 5 team in the West.
Whoa.
I think
Top
Jaren
5 team in the
Jackson.
West? Okay.
Yep. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to take a huge leap. He could shoot the ball. He could score. He could play defense. He's long. Dylan Brooks is a shooter. Okay, they'll get Justice Winslow back, who can play good defense. Giles going to take the next step up. Who knows who they're going to draft if they sign anybody this year or going into next year.
That Western Conference, I think the realist in me says they're going to take a step back, right? But then I watch Ja Morant, and he plays better than any rookie point guard that I've seen in a long time. Sans Ben Simmons, right? Because but just to be, Ben Simmons is an anomaly in itself because he's a 6'9" point guard, right? And he defends at a high level, and he puts up triple double numbers every day, right?
Yeah, 10, 10, and 10.
Right, that's fine. Still a triple double.
God, dude, I hate that.
But Ja Morant comes in and he immediately affected the game. He knew how to read professional level basketball. That takes a couple of years for some guys, and he could do it right now. That's something I don't think that regresses. Maybe he gets defended a little harder, and his ability to adjust is then put into question. But we see right now his ability to play basketball with the best of them is right there.
Well, my thing with him not regressing is there's just the athleticism that we've seen. You see him take it to the rack, and you see those acrobatic shots that he's making. That stuff doesn't go away. Maybe, yes, it's going to be tougher on ball, but that's why you screen. That's why you scheme up ways for him to get to the hoop. I think if he improves his shooting, he's going to take the next step too.
I think every team in the West next year is going to tell their fans that they can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I really don't know, unless the Thunder, blow it up, and they're Dennis Schroeder, you had a great 6th man of the year. Here come the I don't know. Here come the Pistons that want their point guard of the future. They're offering a lot of picks. See you later.
Here you
Chris
go.
Paul, we need to get off your contract. See you later. Danilo Gallinari, thanks for all you've done here. See you later. Then they can, bubble down as long as they don't, get rid of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because that dude is a baller.
SGA, baby.
That dude's a stud. But I think every team in the West, you can make a case for them to make the playoffs next year, and it's going to be tough for the Grizzlies to sustain that. But I think they have dudes in place that can for sure help them, stay there. But no debate.
It shouldn't be. People who I get the whole Zion thing because it's Zion.
But he played 13 games? That's not you can't show up. Be
again. Well, this is the debate for Zion, and I guess the debate for the whole awards is really specific. I think to just the Rookie of the Year, because if the Pelicans make a push these last 8 games and they make the playoffs, which have you seen their schedule? I mean, it's kind of a cakewalk. I got to look it up.
Well, they had the easiest schedule going into the last handful of games before.
All it really took, I think, if the season kept going and Zion took that team, Zion and BI took that team to the playoffs, it probably would be Zion. People would have voted Zion instead of Ja just because of Zion taking the team. But it should be Ja, and I'm happy it's going to be.
I don't think any analyst is it's Zion. I think everybody on Twitter is it's
Zion. Yeah. Yeah, true.
Do you have a pick for most improved? Well, I know we don't have it on the list here.
No, but I was thinking about it. I would go BI. I would definitely give it to Brandon Ingram.
Shout. He's a good shout.
I think it's
Bam Adebayo.
Yes. Yeah, that's also a good shout.
Bam Adebayo.
My thing with Bam is there going to be some sort of regression next year?
Possibly, yeah. It's hard for a center to do what he does. He's kind of he's the same as Jokic in a way, where he's where the offense doesn't go through him every single time like it does Jokic, but has the ability to play make. He has the ability to do a little bit of everything that Jokic can do. I don't want to say he's a dollar store Jokic, but he's if you're comparing two brands and you're like,
like Target or something.
yeah, he's like, yeah, all right, that's fine.
Spend a little extra money, a little luxurious.
He's not off brand, but he's not the brand you buy every single time.
No, just enough.
Right. Okay.
Just
I think
enough.
Luka has a case too. Luka going from year to like second year star. But I can't give a dude in his second year the most improved because you're supposed to improve. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to be better than you were the first year.
Yeah.
But
the Mavericks are going to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah, we haven't talked about them this entire podcast, and they're going to make waves when we're done.
I almost bought them.
It's a good buy. It's a good buy. It's an expensive.
Nice healthy Kristaps. I mean,
it's an expensive buy, but it's one of those things.
Forget about it.
Yeah, it's like buying organic. Like you're gonna buy it and you're gonna enjoy it, but it's a little more expensive. Okay, so the last thing that we have here, Nick, is a little bit of we're gonna do some trivia, right? And hold on, let me find the link here. So this trivia, we have 4 minutes on the timer. We have, can you name the most recent first team All NBA player for the first team, for each team? Okay. So I am going to give you the team.
You gonna share the screen so I could see it? Are you gonna share the screen? I want to see.
Yeah, I'll share my screen here.
Sporkle.
One participant.
Oh, you gonna share?
Yeah, I'll share my screen. So we get a nice overlook here. Let me know when you can see it. Good?
Yeah. Did it kick me for a sec?
I don't know. It might have.
I'm
fine.
back.
We're back.
What's
up?
All
right. So ready?
All right.
So these can go in any order. We have 4 minutes on the timer.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Ready?
All right, I'm gonna go. We'll go. Okay, hit play. I'll give you the Celtics one. Okay. It's definitely Kevin Garnett.
It is Garnett. Oh, the Timberwolves too. Nice. The
Nets in
03-04 was probably Jason Kidd. Bulls in 13-14. Derrick Rose. Not Derrick Rose.
No. Yeah, definitely Dwalk. Put LeBron James.
Okay. This is Mavericks in 08-09. Dirk. I don't know how to spell Nowitzki. No.
Just put.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Nuggets in 18-19. That was probably Jokic, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pistons in 96-97.
Atlanta Hawks, do Dominique Wilkins.
Nice. Good shout. Good shout. The Pistons in 96-97.
It's not Isaiah Thomas.
Not Isaiah Thomas.
It's not Rip Hamilton.
It's not Joe Dumars. 96-97.
Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry. Houston Rockets, James Harden.
Clippers in 15-16, Blake Griffin?
Yeah, maybe. Or is it Chris Paul?
No. DeAndre Jordan? Wow. Okay.
Wow.
All right, Lakers in 12-13.
Kobe.
First team. Yeah.
You think?
Bryant? Yeah, Kobe. Yeah.
RIP.
14-15 Grizzlies.
Is it Connolly?
No, not first team.
Who else?
It wouldn't be Joakim.
No.
No.
Is it Marc Gasol?
It might be Marc Gasol. Yeah, Marc Gasol. Good shout. All right, Bucks on to.
Let's do Giannis.
God. I don't think it'll.
Yeah. Watch.
Oh, okay. Good shout. All right, Pelicans 17-18.
Last year Pelicans. Yeah, AD.
The Knicks in 1989-1990. It's probably Pat Ewing, right? Yeah. OKC in 18-19. Paul
George. PG.
Nice. Orlando in 11-12. Howard? Yeah.
Dwight.
04-05 for the 76ers. Probably Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Phoenix 06-07. Probably Steve Nash. And Amari Stoudemire.
And Amari.
Dame. Yeah.
No,
I spelled it wrong. Kings, probably Chris Webber. Yeah. Spurs in 16-17. Did they give it to Duncan as like a thank
Timmy
you?
Dunks? No.
Parker.
Manu?
Nope. No.
Oh, no. First team is Trey LaMarcus Aldridge.
You think?
No.
16-17. I think. No, it's not Manu Ginobili.
Patty Mills? No.
Ha!
They
All
have
right,
DeMar-
Utah
no.
Jazz 98-99. Probably Malone.
Yeah, probably Carl.
Karl Malone, and then the Wizards in 78-79. Wow.
You mean the Washington Bullets?
The Bullets, yeah. Who's playing for the Bullets?
San
I have no
Antonio
idea.
Spurs. 2016-2017 Spurs. It's not Tim Duncan. It's not
40
Manu.
seconds.
It's not Parker. What? Who is it?
It's not Aldridge.
Oh, this is gonna be.
You're going to see it, and you're going to be – oh, duh. So far removed. Pistons in 96-97.
Chauncey Billups?
No,
No.
he didn't get there until
2000 something.
Yeah.
Or late 2000.
10 seconds. Wizards in 78. I'm going to be upset that I don't know this.
The Pistons is gonna be annoying.
Did I just spell? I might have spelled. All right, let's see. Grant Hill and Elvin Hayes. Okay.
You're telling me you couldn't get Elvin Hayes? Is that
No.
what you're saying?
No, I could not. Grant Hill, first team All-Star. Grant Hill was a baller. He balled out. All right,
Yeah, well-
93. I'll take that. That's an A-.
That's a good trivia. That's a good trivia section.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
All right, Nick, any final thoughts?
What's today? Wednesday. Scrimmages. We did talk about scrimmages.
Let me just start today.
Roll Celtics, baby. That's it.
All right. Well, the Nets are in the bubble. The bubble Nets. Let's go Nets.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Leave a like, comment, review. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know what you want to see. It really helps us grow the podcast. Leave a rating. Shoot us an email if you want to see your question answered. If you have
Hit
a
us
quiz
up on
that you
the
want to make up
socials.
for us, put it on Sporkle. Tag us. Follow us on social. Nick, what's your social?
My social.
Yeah, what's your Twitter?
Oh, it's Nick_Tobias on Twitter and on Instagram. Nice and easy. NICK_TOBIAS.
Great,
Easy.
and I got @BurnerOfAnthony on Twitter, so you can follow me there. Burner, it's my burner. You won't see hot takes, but you'll see my face, and you might see some hot takes actually. But
If you
that's
guys
all
wanna-
she wrote.
Yeah, if you guys
We'll
want to
be-
follow the brand.
Follow the brand
follow
at Caps on Sports. So
Caps on
on
Sports,
Twitter,
boys. Caps on
Instagram,
Sports. Whatever you got to do.
the like. So thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Yes, we will.
Bye-bye. Stop recording.